Yeah, we are. All right, now we'll start. You didn't miss a thing.
Good to know.
Okay, let's talk about kayak.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, from last month, Chief, you talked about some coordination issues on 911 dispatch. Are those pretty much resolved, or are we still?
They are resolved.
Okay, and are we able to get Crescent Springs to back us up if we need it?
Yes, but it's the process of changing radio channels to calling provider.
But typically, if you do need backup, are you calling Ludlow, are you calling Fort Wright, who are you calling?
Geographically, it's set up. If it's the high water road area, it is Ludlow. If it's anything on top of the hill, we refer to the top of the hill as part of the major portion of Villa Hills, it's Fort Mitchell. That's the first priority backup.
In the computer issues regarding the county reporting, obviously those have been addressed since we got the reports. Is that a fair statement?
It is being addressed, yes.
Still in process?
Yes.
Okay. Staffing issues. My understanding is that both officers that were out on workers' comp are now back active duty?
Yes, they're both back in work.
Good. And your two officers that were just hired, is that going all right?
It is going very well. It is a slow process still. First couple of weeks, we kind of rushed them through to get them ready to acclimate it with the streets, ready to go. The best part was they were already veteran officers, so pretty much just learning what we do, how we do it, and learning the geographical area of Villa Hills was the biggest part of it.
Are you learning things with these two that you think you can apply to the next one?
Almost definitely. That is why I asked the mayor to hold off on getting that third person immediately. Just give us a chance to catch our breath, get these two on board.
Okay.
And the notice was put out today about the accepting applications for a part-time position.
Okay.
So that hiring process is starting right
And the county is basically out of here?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, have the cruiser been purchased?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. What else you got on your report, Chief?
That's pretty much it. Just an update of that. The hiring process is on the way, and the monthly schedules, the monthly reports didn't get out prior because of last week's problems with the computer. I believe KOL was here again today across the street trying to work out some things.
So this one from August is the most recent one we have? And that was the very
There
first
should have been a
one, right?
packet passed out this evening.
I do have that. I did have that. Now, Holly, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but my understanding is that what you wanted originally was basically this breakdown by incident. And you would like to see how many are in Villa Hills and how many are outside of Villa Hills? Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Are we able to do that or something similar to that? And I assume our calls outside of Villa Hills have gone down quite a bit since we're so
They have.
low staffed.
They have.
On an average, what would you say how many calls we get a day?
Outside or inside or both?
Inside.
Inside.
Because if it's outside, then a lot of times it shows
Is
as
there an extra one for me to see?
dispatch.
Everything was like 6.
I can share. Would you say it's like between 1 and 9 a day? Kind of breakdown.
One of these reports has 5 days a week. The last page of the packet, it has Sundays through Saturdays. There's a breakdown by hour when these calls come out. Getting back to Mr. Cahill's original question, I would have to pull it out by address by city. So yes, we can pull out a report majority of all those are going to be assisting other cities. On the very front report of this packet, the incident analyst report, where it actually shows an address, incident type, and date, we try to change the heading of that event to be more precise of what the call was. If an officer goes over to Crescent Springs to assist with an auto accident, it's not, hopefully we're going to be able to adjust it later on to say that it doesn't show up as an auto accident. It was assisting another agency. If the officer makes a traffic stop in Crescent Springs, then it's going to show traffic stop, because that was Villa Hills generated. If the officer is called over there to take a suspicious person call because the Erlanger unit is busy on something else, it's going to show a suspicious person call. If we're taking the call and keeping it, we're going to title it what it truly is. If we're assisting the other entity of what the call is, it's going to be changed to assist other agency. That way it doesn't misscrew our numbers and say, I don't know what the numbers are, but say, instead of 15 alarm drops, when we have 12, we realize the other 3 were in another jurisdiction that we assisted. It's just going to say assist. If that helps clarify it.
But you, Holly, just so I hope I'm not misstating your question, but you need to know, or you would like to know, if we assist out of the city, you want to know that we did that, right?
Right.
So assisting won't really do it, because if we say, if there's an alarm drop that we respond and we keep the call, it's going to look like it's a Villa Hills call.
But the address is going to be out, it's going to have different jurisdiction of Villa Hills in the address.
Right.
So you will be able to see it.
Would it list the city separately, or would you have to know every street in
This
Villa
is
Hills?
by call.
So you won't know it's a different
This is
city?
chronologically.
Okay,
By
time.
234 Oak Street is Ludlow.
Yes.
okay, so
Yeah,
that's
you
what I
know,
was
I
thinking, you
mean-
have to know every street to
Yeah.
know if it's the right city or what
Right.
city it's in.
How
Well,
did-
the
how
report
was
he's
you
got
able to
that,
pull what formula did you use to get this? Out of character, because some of the stuff I don't have on my department, that we have it. I don't see, Chris does all that, but she's actually pulled it up to where we have each city where we respond to in a block thing, but I don't have this interesting, your incident breakdown by month report. I don't have that one, which I think is pretty neat. I don't know how she does that either. I don't know where she goes through. She's having problems over there recently. We weren't able to get our report last month either. And she's having to go through Fred, so I don't know if that's something you can't get anymore.
Well, we were behind pretty much because the whole system was down for several days because of the fire.
Yeah, I know that. But we actually had it to where you could tell every city we went to, which is beneficial for us since we cover Bromley.
Yes.
But I don't have some of this other stuff, which I think is really interesting.
Can we get together with her, with Chris, and share some of this? I mean, you won some of these reports that they're able to.
Yeah, I like his incident breakdown by month. I like that because it kind of, especially a lot of his is blank, so is mine, because we just came from Erlanger, but that'd be beneficial for next year, compiling stats from year to year.
Yes.
But for some, we actually have it to where you can go from city to city. Like if we respond to back Covington up, it'll give us the breakdowns of all the Covington runs we have on a separate grid.
Does that sound like what you're looking for, Holly? I mean, that sounds like exactly what.
Does it
What we're
pretty
looking
much
for.
come out like this?
Yeah.
No, that's the whole point. I don't know how you got that.
Huh? Yeah.
And I kind of like that too.
I would have to
Because,
change,
because I don't have this,
Which
where you
one's
have
that?
I don't have this one, where you have each individual breakdown, your street, but I have it to where it's a summary. It's like in an Excel spreadsheet, and it tells you the type of call it was and location, and you know what city it is. Because again, since we cover Bromley, I have to have that, I have to separate Bromley and Parkville to this thing. But I'll have to ask Chris.
Does
I know she's
Suzanne
having
do all those
problems with
reports
it.
for you? Who does? You do them yourself? No, correct.
And I do have the incident activity log per day for the week. I was able to get that, which is also beneficial. And I can get this other one here. It's just these ones, these particular ones you have that I don't have like this. Not that I can't get them, I just don't know that she did it.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Because she's
actually gonna be out probably for another week or two with her foot surgery.
That's fine.
You don't have a secretary, do you? So, you're better at this than I am, because I stay within the computer system. I just say what I need, and she gets it for me, so I have no... I may just let her talk to you. I don't think I really want to deal with it.
We can go back and play it as soon as we finish.
All right.
All right, anything else with the chief? You guys have anything?
I got a question.
Yes.
An individual last week, I think it was last Wednesday, was missing from Angela Court, I think it
Yes.
is. How many police agencies helped us out on that?
Initially, Park Hills, Erlanger, and Fort Mitchell.
And were they all
responded.
able to communicate with the, with you, with the dispatch being changed, or?
Yes. Most of those agencies are all on the same frequency anyway, same channel. Erlanger, I believe that officer came over to assist. It's just a matter of telling his dispatch center, I'm going to be off the channel. And they have a way of marking it on their computer screen that just shows they're unavailable. And then he switches channel and he can communicate with everybody that's on Kitten County's channel.
If, for instance, something seriously happened in their city, can they get a hold of him right away?
Yes. Our radios are programmable to scan. And that was the problem we had prior to switching dispatch. When I would get out of the car and turn my portable radio on, I would have it on the Erlanger channel because it was set up to where, because we pre-programmed them a week ahead of time, so we switched over, they were ready to go. County was the dominant channel. So anytime county had what we refer to as radio traffic, that ceased everybody else's, what it was picking up scanning wise, and it would only let me hear what county was saying. But that was one of the bugs that Mr. Cahill talked about, we worked out. And all that has been addressed and taken care of. The one question that you asked before just now is, I'm not sure about other agencies, but I do know that when Villa Hills goes to a call like that, we don't have any communications directly with the fire department. We have to use the dispatcher's relay.
Well, the fire department helped out too, right?
Tremendously.
Yeah, okay.
Probably a 4-to-1 ratio of number of personnel.
That's where you had the helicopter also.
Yes.
That's why I was wondering where the helicopter came from.
Hamilton County.
Oh, okay, so even they can communicate with you all?
Yes.
That's impressive.
It may be relayed to the dispatch center, but the information is able to be given pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, it sounded like real time to me.
It is. It is. Everybody on the fire channel and at the dispatch center knew that the individual had been located before any of the police officers did. Because we're not able to monitor, it's a whole different radio frequency. It's not something you just can program into your radio. You have to have another radio.
So who found him?
One of the firemen on Route 8, he walked up, down the road. The firemen saw him from down the road.
Yeah, because they even had let over only water
Yes.
down there. Along the road.
Is there a solution to that fire-police communication issue? I mean, are we just talking about technology? Are we just talking about money? What are we talking about?
Technology and finances.
How much money are we talking about? I mean, that seems like a critical thing, that if you can't get these two people communicating, you're in trouble.
It is. It's a lot of money. You're talking to almost a dispatch system, a console, and all the radios. They use a different frequency, and it's because of I was told it's because of the pagers and tones. Because the volunteer firemen and even the regular firemen have pagers. The dispatch will drop tones that notify them of a run. It's not on the police radio.
Is that what Judge Arlen House was pushing for on dispatch, was to have everybody on one type thing, or?
I'm not sure if the fire department, the fire department is with the dispatch center. And there's there's confusion in reference to everybody being under one dispatch center. They may title it one entity, one title. It may all be in one building and in one room, but you have your different entities are still working and operating off of different channels.
Almost like a spider web type deal.
Yes.
Is
Well-
that specific to Northern Kentucky? Does everybody have this problem? You know,
I think
just
at Covington, we were able to, I think they actually had it where I had to check. I think there was something where you had the fire department, you could get their channel. But I forgot how they said it, it was weird. You weren't supposed to talk to them, but you could hear them. Something of the sort, but that was years ago.
It was probably a relay system.
Yeah. And what he means by the one dispatch center, I think it means like just have all the cities in one group, like Erlanger come in and everybody.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about, like, if there was some kind of emergency, like a natural disaster or something like that, that everybody can be contacted at one time to respond or make preparations for something.
Well, they dispatch the fire and the police have the same room. They just, the same radio.
Well, I'm not talking too much about that. I mean, if something happens to that one room somewhere, then there should be another one that would take over.
I don't know how that's played now.
County
I don't
has
know
a
what the
special
plan
office associated with that for the emergency preparedness. They have an actual office, county officer for that. I'm not sure who it is now. I used to know the fellow who did countywide emergency preparedness. But I'm sure if you got with the county, they could tell you who was in that position at this point in time. I just don't, I used to know the fellow who did it, Owens, but that's been many years ago.
Well, I was surprised to find out they only have 32 officers in the county. I kind of thought that'd be a lot. Yeah. I don't know how many sheriff deputies there are.
I don't know.
The county's only covering the unincorporated areas.
Well,
You got independents out there.
I understand that, but I'm just saying this, you know, I'm in the county too, and I think they should cover me. That's one of the things that got me ticked about the $2,000 that we had.
We can't fix that tonight.
But no, this is safety, I understand.
No.
All right. Going back to last month again, we talked about speed humps, and I brought that to council and told them we need a definitive answer on where these things are going to be, and then we'd ask for help from the state on whether or not they should be there, how high they should be, how long they should be, that sort of thing. And I got nothing. So as far as I'm concerned, we just let that sit until they get back to me and say, this is what we want. Street light problems. Summer, I think you brought that up last month about reporting outages on street lights.
Oh, yeah.
And the city clerk has agreed to be the coordinator. So theoretically, it was out on the TV last month, so hopefully people are aware of it. If they see a street light out, they can call the clerk's office here at 341-1515 and report it to Craig. Craig will get all those together and report it to Duke.
And there is a turnaround time frame on that. As soon as we call Duke, they don't send the truck out immediately.
I realize that.
Neighborhood Watch, I was hoping that Mr. Boehner would be here tonight to talk about the website, because I think we're going to need that to get started on this Neighborhood Watch thing. Summer, I know you were trying to take the lead on that. What do you got?
Got some papers.
Okay.
So what I did was write, do you want me to do this now?
Heck yeah.
Okay, what I did was copy from Colorado Springs over there. And they had an easy kind of script already, so I did the best I could with that. Took out the stuff that I thought was kind of dumb or just not pertinent. And what I did was leave an area for the police department representative to speak. But if there isn't one, I wrote down I printed out all the home security, what details you need when you report, telephone security, suspicious people. So this actually could be done mostly by the block captain, since I even though we're not as short-staffed as we were. Do you want to have the master copy?
No, I prefer the chief vet that to make sure that,
Yeah, you should.
because that'll probably fall into his.
These are two separate things, so I just wanted to make that clear. So that would be for the black captain. If this is what you would cover if you'd like, plus or minus more, but I think they could also do it,
Okay.
if need be.
Yes.
So they're two separate things, but I didn't do staples or anything.
No problem. We have paper clips. Thank you.
If you need me to fix anything or do something, just let me know.
I will.
Do you want those electronically so that, like to put in the police officer's name and sort of that sort of thing, or how do you want that?
I'll talk to her about it.
Okay.
We'll go a little further with it. Has there been any show of interest of having one?
It's not on the website, so nobody knows about it unless they come to these meetings or watch the TVNK.
Do you know where we are on that website, the new one?
No, I can't believe it's taken this long.
I'll get with Mr. Boehner and see where that is. Because I think we're going to need the website to get this off the ground. I don't know how we're going to do it any other way.
Unless we send out some kind of mail notification that it's available, but that might be costly, I don't know.
Yeah, we have to send out 8,000 letters. I don't know
Yeah.
if we want to do that.
We had a meeting with the chief a couple, I guess about a year and a half ago, I guess, on our street, Carpenter's Trace area.
Yes.
And we developed an email list for most of the residents on there, but we really haven't done anything with it since then. Things have been sort of quiet, fortunately, on our street, and, people tend to lose interest in it. So, something that would kind of prompt people along certainly wouldn't hurt. And I did send out a request to those people on the list, does anybody want to be like a block captain? Nobody responded, so, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of interest.
They talked about monthly meetings. I can't imagine what you do every month, getting together. Unless you want to sit around and drink beer.
No, monthly email would probably be fine,
You're up for the monthly drink beer?
We gotta take her.
We got to volunteer. But I agree with you. It seems like if we could just, it's almost like a newsletter thing. If we could just keep people's interest, that would be nice. And I don't know, I wonder if they offered that. Did they offer any kind of a newsletter? I didn't see any on that website.
I think it's something they've suggested. They have a lot of suggestions, it's like there's no one way to do this, especially based on the size of the city and the city's needs, I would say that educating people on what I just gave the chief would probably be sufficient.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we'll just see what kind of response we get when we finally do get it on the website, and we do need to encourage this, but I think for the most part, it's having the phone number. It's 911, but, just make sure people understand that when you see something like that, you call that number. You don't go outside and say, hey, what the hell are you doing here?
If you really did develop a network where you had different areas, and different captains, would it be possible to send information back the other way to those captains? So like, let's say you had reports of somebody, in the city doing something, and, it takes a while for us to hear about it in the news or whatever.
Right.
Or that could be sent to those captains then and kind of like,
Disseminate it back.
not actually go looking for them, but just kind of be aware and on the lookout for them.
So, like if something happened more than once, if you had
Yes.
like 2 break-ins of cars, that would be something that maybe we could send out. You could do that even without, just kind of generic. We'll tell them what neighborhood it was in and that sort of thing. How much can you tell them in an email?
That the situation's going on, not anything from that. Like Mr. Winning had said, is, getting back with the residents, the city's website is a great way, but it means a person has to go and get on the website and check things.
Right.
And going back to the incident with the missing persons, we had permission from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children to do the reverse 911. So there were homeowners who were getting phone calls that there's a missing person in your neighborhood, here's his basic description, things like that. if it's an emergency, we could do things, we have that availability. But if it's to just report unusual occurrences and things like that, it does take neighbors talking to each other. That is the best tool.
Especially if it's a new trend, something, like we're aware of car break-ins, that's been
Yes.
going on a while. And we were aware that houses have been broken into, but if it's something new, that's happening, where you can actually be on the lookout, is kind of what I was thinking.
Just checking with the chief, I thought it was Fort Thomas or one of them here last week,
That was in the newspaper.
where they're kicking doors in broad daylight, even alarmed houses.
Like, for instance, Dan, you drive up and down my street all the time. Is there something in my neighborhood that's going on that
We
we should
try to
be
hit all the
aware?
streets. We try to hit them all. Unfortunately, I'm the only one on duty. It's, you can only be in one little area at a time. And we like to spend time in an area. We have the residents who will sit on their porch and take their nice walks. Unfortunately, we're coming to a time of year where that's going to cease. It's going to get dark early. People are going to get home. They're going to pull in their driveway or garages. They're going to grab their groceries, grab their dinner, grab their children out of the car, and they're going to just bebop right inside the house. There's not going to be a lot of interactions with their neighbors. And this is the time of year that, leading into the winter, it's important that neighbors have an opportunity to basically know each other and talk to each other, especially if somebody's new is moving in. Introduce yourselves to them, talk to them. What a way to make them feel welcome, first off. You don't have to bombard and say, oh, by the way, here's the crime waves. Hey, let's go.
Good idea.
This is our neighbor Denny. He's a retired police officer, and then up the street is Dave. Dave likes to kayak. And
There's
different
an ankle bracelet.
it's a great icebreaker just to say hello and put a name to the face. It's really important. What's nice about Northern Kentucky is people who've grown up here and stayed here, they pretty much know how the 911 system works here. They know the jurisdictional boundaries, and that's not a problem. I don't think a lot of people realize the number of people who go to school at Xavier, UC, and NKU, and Thomas More, after they get their degree, and they're not from the area, they remain here. They liked it for those 4 years, 5 years, and all of a sudden this is now their home, the Northern Kentucky area. It's a great place to be. And those are the ones you want to reach out to, and because you want to get to meet them, but it's an extra set of eyes and ears. It's important to have. We always joke in our neighborhood, it comes springtime, you start seeing your neighbors again, and I go, right after them comes the orange barrels. And they start popping up right after that. But getting the word out is the crucial thing to do. That's what's timely. The other night with that incident, luckily the city clerk was here at the city building, still working. We gave him the information. He got the press releases out immediately. And then about 3 hours later, he also rescinded it to get it taken back. It was canceled. For an officer, we have 1 or 2 officers on duty. That officer's got to leave the scene to come back here to do that stuff. Right. It's timing. And we have to prioritize what we're trying to do. You have an officer trying to gather information of a missing person. You have a computer system you want to get it into. You have a network of dispatch centers. The dispatch centers will send it to the other centers, but they've got to have the basic information first. And then you work on the press releases. But a lot of times the press is already aware of it. They're bombarding the office with phone calls already. So it comes to timing.
It's kind of an interesting concept. Maybe we should turn this around a little bit. Instead of having people meet once a month, maybe we just do emails whenever necessary. I mean, if you want to say, hey, go out and meet your neighbors, it's winter time, I mean, that would be, we could ask people if they want to be put on that list. Certainly we would put people on the list that don't want to be. But we could do it email, we could do it text, we could do it Twitter, we could do whatever you want.
Right.
What we have in Park Hills is we actually had set up everything on, notified all of our residents if you want to be part of an email system. We have an email, and we also have the website. And what we do on that is we have the calls, we just put a message into the email and it goes out. I think we got like several hundred people involved in it. And then they'll even contact us if they think there's something we need to know. And then, of course, if there's, you had a burglary, detective will send out information, hey, don't do this, please don't do that, things like that. So we've been doing that, I think about 7 or 8 months, or maybe, I'll lose track, maybe a year.
Who maintains that list, that email list?
Our secretary. Secretary does everything. So, and she's got it, I have access to it, she has access to it, and Sergeant Webb's our detective. So.
And how much are you paying her?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but we get something, just put in the message and send it out, and everybody gets it. It's one of those things that you use, it depends on the circumstances. We went 2 or 3 months, never used it. Then all of a sudden, we popped out 4 or 5 things. Fireworks, for instance, we sent out a mass email for the fireworks, hey, because we have 2 or 3 streets that are in the butts. And then we also put things on our website, continual information, but we get more response from the email than the website, because more people feel personalized when you email them. And they also feel empowered. Hey, you're paying attention to me, you're actually taking the time to send out the email, and it works out pretty good. It took about a month to get it going, and we had a really big reception to it, a lot of people. So, but it took us, it's getting the information out, contact us, that was kind of the most difficult thing.
At some of the events that we have coming up, we could put maybe a little booth saying, are you interested in receiving city updates? And then have them sign up there. So we have the Haunted Trails coming up, and the Christmas,
The tree light?
the tree lighting event.
Can we sign up online?
Well, they can, but I'm just saying if they're not going to our website or anything, it would be kind of like a membership drive, that.
I can't remember exactly how we get the information out, but we also did it for purposes of emergency contact on all the residents. Now, Villa Hill's a lot bigger than Park Hills. Part of the reasoning we did on the email contact list was, I found it amazing that the city clerks did not have phone numbers for residents. You had the address, you had the person who lived there and all the information, but you had no phone number to get a hold of them in case you had a problem. So I cannot remember how we started it, but that was part of the jig in the email system, was to get the people to send in their information, so if something happened, we get a hold of them, phone numbers and things like that. And that came in handy. And we use it mainly, we get a ton of it for our house checks. You get people just email us their house check information. The problem with that is some they just don't quite comprehend the fact that we don't check it on weekends as much. So, but we were able to gain a lot of information, and we were able to do the special events like you said, Memorial Day Parade, things like that, street closings, hey, the streets knocked out for a while, things like that.
Did you get any pushback on asking for phone numbers?
No, it was optional. Most of them gave them to us, because we put it in there, hey, something happens to your house and we can't get a hold of you.
Exactly.
And as soon as you put it, terminology like that, they were more than willing to give it to us. Privacy went out the window all of a sudden. Call me anytime you want to see what's going on with my property.
So you asked for their home phone, their cell phone,
Any
whatever they wanted to
pertinent
get?
information, emergency contacts, things like that. Yeah, we bombarded them, and it was amazing how much information we got back.
Maybe we'll put something together. Summer, I'll send it to you since you've been heading up this thing. We'll just get some kind of a form. I've got something at work, and I don't know if I could use it or not for this, but it's called Email Me or something. And you can create a form, you can send it out to whoever you want, they'll email back and forth. It's pretty cool. I don't think you paid anything for it, so I'll look into that.
Everybody else in the world does this, I don't know why we wouldn't. At the point where you're buying your city sticker or paying your property tax, if you had a little blurb on there, would you like to be contacted concerning city business? And if so, just provide us with your email. Okay, I get it all the time for everything. I go to Dick's, they want it. They go to, I go to Remke's, they want it. And after a while, I don't give it out because I get tired of getting beat up on it. But you know, I don't see any reason why, you know, we can't, we couldn't request the email. And then you can send them an email,
Right.
okay? You put them in a group. You can group them by, you know, by district within the city and just, you know, just blast it out there. And it only takes a few seconds for a secretary to email everybody in the entire city. So, I mean, but I'm like, I'm with him. If as long as it's not mandatory, as long as you're just requesting it, you know, it's not something that they absolutely have to do, why not? Okay? Quite frankly, there's probably a lot of people who don't even know about the city's website, but you know, but if you send them an email, they'd be pretty happy.
The trick is getting that email the very first time.
Right. Well,
Unfortunately, we just sent the city, the tax bills went out
yeah.
last month. So
Well, you know,
That would have been a good time.
it would have been a good time to do it, but, you know, you could still put a sign-up sheet.
I like
Okay.
the idea of the haunted trail and Christmas
Yeah.
tree lighting and all that stuff.
But we could set something up inside the city building too by the,
By the clerk's window.
yeah. And then
Do you
when
want
they
it,
come in,
do you
sign
want,
up.
do you want do you want to be notified of city events, you know? If so, please leave us your name and your email address. And we'll email you, and, you know, some people will sign up and some people won't, but, you know,
Would it be appropriate to put a sign at the entry of the city? I know that doesn't catch everyone, but it catches most everyone. Or do you not usually do signs, you know, official signs?
I think to get that much information on there while you're moving is gonna be, that's my thought on it.
Well, we could ask them to go to the website and sign up there.
Well, the haunted trail's this month, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can get it.
Yes, start.
Yeah, because we're gonna have hay rides this year. Boy, it's a big hit.
Did we have haylights last time, or is that
Not
different than the
last
Hunter
year.
Trail?
The year or so before, they had 3.
Huh.
We're gonna get 2 this year. It was more successful.
I think you can
hay
try and
rides.
pull up horses or a tractor,
What?
your hay ride.
The tractor.
It was Kentucky.
But we are trying to get the Headless Horseman to come through. That scared the heck out of him.
That's what eating is taking.
That's a.
He was there one year.
Um,
Ferd did
I got one more thing.
that. Howard Ferd from Hilton.
The Kentucky League of Cities is offering a grant, a safety grant, and I have no idea how to apply for it, and I don't know what the parameters are, and I've tried 10 times to contact the Kentucky League of Cities. I can't get through, so,
Which grant is that?
pardon?
Which one is that for?
2013-14 KLCIS Safety Grant Applications.
It doesn't tell you what they're funding on the grant?
Doesn't tell you anything.
Safety.
Yeah, they should, they usually give you an idea what it's for.
Well, once you get on the website, they will, but I can't get on the website. I've changed my password 3 times, and 3 times it said, nope, you got the wrong password.
I'll ask the
I'll
principal.
look tomorrow.
Thank you. I don't know that we want to do this, but I, you know.
Why not?
Yeah, it'd be silly not to at least look into it, so that's out there. Anything else we need to talk about tonight?
I was gonna ask the chief if we could all have a copy of the schedule.
The work schedule, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why?
So we can just go over it and make sure that there's not a whole lot of overtime and things, just so we can see how with all the officers back, how it's flowing.
Okay.
You know, I heard something on the news, and I don't know whether or not anybody else here has come, but apparently the state, because of a rash of impropriety, shall we put it that way, in northern Kentucky. Okay, the state is now bringing one of its officers up here to get with the cities to go over their finances, and because apparently, it was very sketchy. It was just on Channel 9 or something, or Channel 12, whatever. But apparently the state, and I didn't know whether or not anybody else had heard anything else about this, where
You
they
mean
were,
the state auditor's office?
yeah, they were going to come up and I didn't know, whether that was, it kind of falls into this jurisdiction, but I didn't know whether anybody else had heard anything else about
Is
it.
that the city? The city, because I know they're doing with Covington right now, because there's a big thing with
Right,
Covington.
right.
I think you're saying here is what the news
But
said.
no, there apparently have been other, besides the guy who ran off with the money in Covington, there's been a rash of,
A lot, actually, a
Huh?
lot. A
yeah,
lot.
of impropriety in the city government in Northern Kentucky. And so the state auditor's office apparently has sent somebody up to meet with, and I didn't know whether Villa Hills had
They had a workshop.
Content-
The
they had a
state-
workshop.
The state came up, had a one-day presentation, for
Okay.
a couple hours, a workshop. And cities were invited, but it wasn't mandatory.
okay.
I don't know if anybody from Villa Hills participated or not.
I got the impression that it wasn't mandatory, that they weren't, coming in with subpoenas or anything like that. It was just, but it was, pretty much a type of thing where, look, you could find yourself inadvertently out of order, okay, with the state auditing.
Was it a compliance thing or a fraud thing?
Fraud.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, I just wanted, I was just curious if anybody else, apparently there was just like a one-day event that they came in and they offered it to the cities. If the cities wished to participate, they could. Okay.
This is kind of a finance issue, but I asked our auditor to come back with a report on exactly what happened in Covington to make sure we don't have any exposure in that regard. But I don't know exactly what that guy did.
You gotta have you gotta have two signatures, and they didn't. I mean, it's from what I heard.
We do, but that doesn't mean you're
That doesn't mean
100%.
But that doesn't mean you're right.
Honest,
No,
right.
that's right. Well, if you're routinely just signing off on it and you're not looking,
Right.
You're on the hook.
A week from Thursday, over there at 6:30. That's the finance meeting. That's where you want to go.
whether or not the auditor's office has contacted you all or
I think it's a
not.
week from Thursday.
I thought it was this Thursday.
It's the Thursday before the council. And that would be
A whole different committee.
I
We're gonna sign you up.
July through September.
I was just curious. When I heard that on TV, I was like, holy crap.
Thursday the 17th.
Did they say it was our city? Did they say it was our
Council
city?
meeting's not till the 23rd.
They didn't, they just said no.
Finance meeting will be the 17th at 6:30. You want to go to that?
There's 21 locations, there's 20.
Jay,
What?
he wants to know if you want to go.
What is it,
You're welcome.
17?
Yeah, it's an open meeting, anybody's allowed.
What time?
anybody's welcome. 6:30,
I'll see what I can.
across
over
the
there.
street, yeah.
I'll see if I can get out.
It's not on Wednesday.
I did.
Tom will be there.
I'll give it back, I promise.
Now, that, chief, the guy that was supposedly chased after a woman,
So the 17th,
Did you-
6:30.
Yeah.
was that actually happen? It was all over the Morton Chronicles,
There was a
or Voiceville Hills.
resident
Okay.
that was jogging at 4:30 in the morning, and as she came up Amsterdam, coming from Valley Trails towards, as if she was going out towards Collins, so she's going eastbound. As she came up the road, she saw a guy standing in the middle of the street. We don't know how far he may have chased behind her, if he chased her at all. but he did approach her, but she just kept walking and running. She didn't slow down for him.
Did she look to see if she was being chased? Or was she just approached? Was this blown out of proportion to somehow make
Well-
it worse than it really is?
Well, he was standing in the middle of the street, and as she ran by, we don't know if he ran towards her or walked or whatever it may be, but she already had a head start and she was gone. She ran up the street, and from talking with family members, she had looked over her shoulder a couple times. She wasn't sure where he may have gone. She wasn't sure if he ducked between houses or if he just stopped and stood there.
So it's fair to say she doesn't know if she was chased.
Um,
It sounded sensational,
Yeah.
that's all I'm saying. Is it on here?
That's what I was looking at and see, I didn't know when this would be. Let me describe it as that Latino way.
Yeah. Anyway,
What?
A Latino Asian,
yeah.
Latino Asian. That's interesting.
where they're getting like,
Yeah,
Or in the morning.
and when it's dark, it would be hard to tell, right, if she's running, and he's in the middle of the street.
What did they do? Well, I don't think that's what they're gonna go around at 3:30 in the morning.
What street was this on, do we know?
Amsterdam Road.
The 2500 block on the 8th?
No.
If you want me to check
That's
what day it was on
I'm sorry.
Facebook, I know that I posted something to it, because I
Yeah.
thought that it was, people were being very silly.
What were they doing that was silly about it? I don't understand. I didn't hear about it.
There are a number of people who are out at 4:30, 5 o'clock in
It
the morning
sounded-
jogging.
It sounded suspicious, especially
That's
based on who posted it. It was
Good for
posted
them.
by the Voice of Villa Hills, and it's not exactly like the voice of the whole people. It's the voice of some people, select few, I would say, a small minority.
Did they call the police when they were chased?
That was asked on
Yes,
the page.
when she got home, they called the police.
So if you think it, you should report it, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It was reported.
It's just that it doesn't sound like
Okay, today's,
I'm
what
gonna see it here.
the Voice of Villa Hills put on Facebook was true at all, but accurate. It's
That's the thing.
sensational, and somebody was being chased, and
Right. You can't believe everything you read.
like Latino, Asian, Hispanic at 4:30 in the morning. I don't know if you're running by that fast so you can tell, like, I'm glad that it was reported.
Oh, well.
maybe I didn't go back far enough.
That just happened like 2 weeks
Timberline got
ago.
it. Oh.
Was that 2 weeks ago?
Probably 2 weeks, because I remember it took me a while to
When coming back to
get back to them.
I got something else on this. I think it's a
This says October 1st. No,
Just read it. Yeah.
26th, the
Ah,
26th.
might be-
Page 6 of 7, it's on there.
Does it say the 26th? That's what they,
It is.
Voice of Villa Hills reported
It
it.
is, it's on here on the 26th of September. On page 6 of 7, under the incident analyst report, about the first quarter of the page down,
Suspicious person.
suspicious person slash vehicle, Amsterdam slash New Warner at 0509
Oh, yeah.
And at the same time, there was suspicious activity on Willowdale, around the same,
Was he carrying a jack?
At 10:30 in the morning.
Carrying a jack-o'-lantern in one hand and,
6.
It just,
That was a gentleman was out back cleaning his patio, and he may have gotten tangled up in the hose, and he fell over a concrete bench and got hurt. And he was calling out, and a neighbor heard him calling out, but didn't know what it was or where it was coming from. So she called 911 because she heard some noise and didn't know what it was.
Was the guy okay?
And yes, scrapes and bruises.
That's good.
Feel the hose though.
What happened? I can't see.
you're,
Anything else we need to talk about tonight?
Oh,
All right, well, thank you all for coming, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next month,
Go check out that speed bump.
Not yet.
Oh.
We had to go out of
November
town.
12th.
I will.
November
I
12th.
promise.
November? November, jeez.
How fast is this?